Assassination Classroom, Season 2, Episode 19. Are we really going to space? Right. Just get up there and steal this stuff. How hard could it be? What did you do in middle school? They do now. Right, exactly. It's surprising what you can do when there's a planet explosion on the horizon. Yeah, it's a little dangerous, but this is all about our group fun and activities in our assassination classroom. Sure, it's a lethal mission involving zero gravity, zero oxygen, hostile environment, but what's life really for anyway? Reminds me of The Simpsons with Homer's, you've never been to space. 19th period, outer space-time. This is crazy. This is just slightly better than Kyoto. Nagisa and Karma? This... Yeah, we're crossing that line again of like, oof, the students could just die. That would be pretty bad. This isn't like that sort of observed and chaperone danger that is often the case, where Koro-sensei could just step in at any moment. I don't know if you can save them from like, well, I mean, maybe you could. Oh wow, Itona? Seeing as you two are the main focus. He protests, but inside he's like, okay. Especially now that we're friends after beating each other up. Right, I mean, this follows on the heels of last episode. Just imagine what torture feels like in space. I mean, it would be memorable, to say the least. Remember that time we went up to space in a rocket to steal lands to kill our teacher? I love their skill progression. It's also earned. It's not like it just came out of nowhere. These kids have been through trials. It's hard to imagine any of these kids not being insanely successful after this, just because their bar is so high. This is one of those like hacks. It's one of those things that's really simple, but it masks the difficulty of it. So like many of them, it ends up not being a hack in the way people want hacks. But like if you always try the hardest thing you can possibly think of, assuming you're not totally annihilated by it, subsequently it sort of includes as a subset all of the things that are less difficult as things you could probably do comfortably now that you've gone through that experience. A very silly but physical, tangible representation of this is like if you can bench press 200 pounds, you can bench press 150 pounds. But the same goes for less tangible things. Just an ability to focus, push yourself through, start from nothing and assemble the pieces even though they're currently unknown. And like one of the best pieces of advice I could give my past self is like always be doing something difficult, something high reaching. I think the obstacle there for me has been the fear of failure, but like there's something cool about seeing that as an iterative process. So you're not actually trying to succeed necessarily, or you are because you do have to give it your best attempt. But if you see that in sequence as a process of development, the outcome of any one thing in particular is less dire, it's less threatening. The point is to be working on something difficult with the best of your ability. So, you know, after the kids fight the Reaper and do the whole poison rescue attempt, suffer through preschool babysitting, stage plays, the last boss of midterm and final exams, and, you know, going to space and infiltrating secret government facilities. Imagine them like starting a business, talking to a stranger, you know, who cares? They just walked right in? I don't care how cute you are. Oh no. Oh no. Who's getting tickled? Yeah, Rizu's definitely an ace in the hole for a lot of these. I definitely see her importance more now. From the beginning, when, you know, I didn't understand it at all. Are there other hurdles? I mean, it seems like most of it. I guess getting into the rocket. Some of that outfit makes him more conspicuous. This is wild. I can't even imagine. your first time on a rocket and it's about to launch into space. And that's the beginning of the mission. Also, I guess we're assuming, or we know, they rigged the spaceships for oxygen even though there are non-human dummies. Have you really? Have you really felt this nervous? This actually was one of my childhood dreams. One of these days. He's holding on. Yeah, don't forget to have fun. Literally, yeah. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad they had that moment. I'm glad he hitched a ride. I really love that this is happening, and this is so great, but in a way that is sort of different from my expectations. Because, I had an inkling that this is the way it was going to go, that the ultimate form of something they could provide is not just accepting the frame and doing what is expected and proceeding on in a line from teacher to student, but rather getting to a point where you're so strong in it, you learned it so well that then you're contributing to it. There's a synthesis happening. I think most of my favorite stories have this element where, they have a mission, but in the following of their mission, they realize there's so much more to it, and they permanently change the nature of the system in an iterative and creative, systemic way. So I was expecting that, and in those expectations, I was also expecting Koro-sensei to be shocked and surprised and moved. And I think that would have been really touching to see, but thinking about it now, it makes sense, and maybe even is more wholesome, that he kind of knows, because he's already there, and he's so honed in on the kids' beauty and their beauty that it really wouldn't make a difference one way or the other to him if he were to live or die. Him living would be a thrill for him only because of what it would say about the students' growth and how happy they'd be. There's no I love you more now because you want to save my life. He's already at the maximum. So this is a beautiful moment, not only for that realization, but also for Nagisa having that realization. And as I've said many times, and I think is one of the more beautiful elements of the characters, it's their eye. It's the seeing thing that Koro-sensei mentioned. To see a thing means to a large degree you have a thing, or you at least have the shape for that capacity. Just in its acknowledgement, Nagisa is sort of doing that same kind of good work, or approaching it. Really? So a rocket can travel between countries faster than Koro-sensei can? Oh, there it is. There's the right town. Yeah, okay, good. He's just moved by their awesomeness. And they're pretty awesome right now. They're in a rocket. It feels sort of empty without the Blue Danube. Isn't that a requisite for space scenes?
HDV catch complete. Commence gripping.
Hire me, Japan. Hire me, anime producers. I can do this.
Your country sent you a doll to play with. How about welcoming it aboard and giving it a big hug?
Okay.
Yeah, why do they welcome two dummies?
Where's the dummy? What?
Murdered.
What? Why is there
We've gotten good at English, right? We passed all those exams, so... Imagine how confusing this is for the astronauts. Oh my god! There's nothing peaceful about this.
This place is a little crowded.
This is amazing.
Let's look somewhere with more space.
More space, get it? What the hell is going on?
Therefore, please allow us to copy the American team's data.
They're really using English in real life situations, the most crazy situations.
I don't know what he'll do to this if you refuse.
They're like, whatever. Oh, they speak Japanese, that's a huge relief.
あ、日本語。
だがな、軍人も含むこの6人とやるつもりか?
Like I'm just impressed in a situation like this.
We've been running experiments here, not knowing when this is all going to blow up and kill us all.
Right, that makes sense, yeah. This is just our daily reality. I like how they're all on the same page. Real unified front here. Which never happens in space movies. There's always the headstrong one and soft one, the one that's cracking.
うちの先生が空中で押してくれるそうです。
This is way too reckless.
若さゆえか、命をあまりに軽く考えてるんじゃないか?
This scene is so overwhelming. I don't even know where to begin. They come in to hijack a space station with a knife as two kids against astronauts who are just doing their job. And the astronauts' response is concern for their well-being.
そういう覚悟は覚えたつもり。あんたたちも一緒でしょ?
ターゲットの立てた計画を心から信頼しているようだな。いいだろう。私の責任でハイジャック犯の要求を飲む。
They just accept. These are impressive kids, so let's get out of their way. And he gently, gracefully floats away.
中学生にさせてやろう。そんな計らいだったと思う。
Oh my god, the jealousy of the other kids.
みんなで助けるって決めたことに反対はしないけどさ。この先生自身は結局俺たちにどうして欲しかったんだろうなって。
Okay, maybe there is still something left about that then. Maybe I'm misreading it. I don't know what to think, really. I really would expect the kind of breakdown. This is Koro-sensei's life, right? And is there not something about him giving up on it? It's just an inevitability, and giving to everyone else is the only thing? It's really tricky. I don't really know where to go with that, because speaking of Jesus, there's something about seeing your life not just as you and your life and your needs, but as an interconnected part of some whole that is way, way bigger and more infinite than you. And so if you can do good, that good so vastly outstrips any significance or any importance, any selfish desires you have for yourself. That Like, what does it matter if I even live or die? That spirit is so deeply looking and so rich, so benevolent, that it's hard to take issue with it. And yet, if it's just 1 degree off or 0.0001% impure, the whole thing goes wrong, because you also are a part of that. You're also a human in that. And sometimes understanding the beauty and value of other people comes with the negative side effect of not valuing yourself, even though you are one of those people. Another way of thinking about it is you are a part of that quest for someone else. You know, like, you would give everything for others. Well, there are other people who would also give everything for others, of which you are one. You know, you are another. And so there's something sort of disingenuous about being able to give that without being able to accept it. The way this usually plays out in regular life isn't at this grand scale, but it's like people who give to their last but feel uncomfortable receiving. It's like, no, just as you feel your ability to give to other people is a gift to you, other people feel their ability to give to you is a gift to them. And it sort of has to be reciprocal for it to work. What are the possible reasons for Koro-sensei wanting to have the students kill him? Actually, I feel like evaluating the objectives, saving him, in a way, it seems like the harder choice, and also a choice that is expansive and is a contribution from them. So along just the lines of their education and development, that feels like a better option. Also, if they save him, that presumably eliminates the threat, at least of him exploding. So that also is a practical solution. The only thing that I can really think of that is in there would be like just a desire to either be granted an out of a difficult or painful reality, which is not acceptable, a desire for some sort of penance or karma, which there are other ways of serving than death. In fact, I think he's serving that now. Or maybe just a general inability to love himself the way that he loves the students. Maybe that will end up being the emotional battleground that corresponds with the physical task-based battleground of the logistics of saving him. But it's an interesting question that Karma's posing.
さっさと帰って検証しようか。
Maybe we could have just asked him. Maybe we could have sent an email, but this was way more fun.
これあげるよ。
Probably not a bomb, probably just a brick.
ただの羊羹なんだ。
Oh no. You actually should destroy that evidence that it wasn't a real bomb. Maybe you should eat it.
友達の家で過ごすように無重
They're very comfortable, yeah.
駄菓子屋で値切るように最高機密の交渉をし
They just live in this world, they have a higher thing.
Come back anytime, but next time do it the right way.
They've already left, who are you talking to? Oh, okay.
However, I'll make sure to increase the budget for space exploration when I get in power.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Karma is going to be the most corrupt politician.
その上、私に積まれた大量のセンサーはかつてないほど様々なものを感知しています。
You're enjoying this a little bit too much, Ritsu.
気圧。
Is this Ritsu's future body?
今回の任務が私の知性を進化させたのを肌で感じます。
Do we not make her a body? I mean, I know that's hard, but we live in an Assassination Classroom world.
感情を初めて自覚しました。
Wow.
私は幸せ。このクラスに来られて幸せです。
Alright, I'll take your word for it, Ritsu. That's something that an AI would say. I was thinking that, like, the Turing test stuff maybe was all wrong. You know, that the measure of real AI is not being able to tell it's human. I think to a sufficient degree, faking human has been accomplished already. I haven't really thought deeply about this, but, like, maybe that was just all based on the premise that language was the test. I think maybe an updated test of true AI would be like, it starts doing things that no human has ever done in totally new categories. You know, we've had AI math for a long time. They were called calculators, and that can do it faster and better than a human, but, like, humans can do math, humans can calculate. When it starts to, like, create stuff, and new technologies, new philosophical insight, actual real-world practical stuff, things we've never heard before, things that don't exist in ancient scriptures, or starts talking about emotions we don't even understand, then it's like, okay, it's actually creating stuff. If it's always just some sort of expression or simulation of things humans know very well, it's plausible that it's just imitating really, really, really well. We really had a whole space arc in one episode. That's incredible. Actually, it was quite pleasant. Could you have? I mean, yeah, I guess he can go to space. How would he have docked, though? It'd be hilarious if they just land right, land right in the school.
みんなが迷って悩んでブレてぶつかった。そんな1ヶ月間。とうとう最後は宇宙まで行った。
That's what happened. Yep, that is an accurate recounting. And we landed in our school's pool.
私が生徒を脅して行かせたということ
He
で
did not.
この計画を知らなかったあなた方に責任はない。
Plausible deniability.
リツさんが見つけたより効率的な宇宙への
She did, did she?
これ全部あげるからチャラってことで。
What's the financial value of this data? Probably high. You are touching a man who has been in space. It's like you're touching space yourself. You know, another day. Sometimes we make acorn noodles, sometimes we go to space. What's important is that we're together and we're working towards our dream.
大きいほど安定し、小さいほど高確率で爆発するのだ。
Okay, that's why the mouse blew
小
up.
さなネズミとは違い、人間大のやつが暴走、爆発する確率は思われていたよりはるかに低い。
But if there's a 1% chance, we have to treat it as an inevitability.
わかりやすく言うと、コリをほぐすことで
さらに飛躍的に暴走リスクが下がると。
Somehow does this end with Koro-sensei getting a massage?
爆発の可能性は高くとも 1% 以下。
That's still incredibly high for an annihilation event.
他の細胞が寿命を迎え、90年以内に穏やかに蒸発するだろう。
Oh, he could just live alive? Well, that's a weird dilemma. That makes it harder, I think.
あんなところに解決の糸口があったっていうの？
いいのかよ、こんな簡単に見つかって。
そんな簡単な道じゃなかったと思う。
She's speaking up.
コロ先生がお姉ちゃんの後を継いで命を懸けて私たちに授業をしてくれたから。
Right. It depends on the point you start at.
宇宙まで答えを探しに行けるクラスには育たなかったよ。
That's a good
何に
insight.
せよ 1% 以下じゃないも同然。殺せなくても地球が爆発しないで済むぞ。
I don't know. I don't think they're considering this in its full. Did I understand this correctly? What's weird about this, it is reassuring in a sense, but it makes it a little bit unnerving because it's not really a solution to the problem. When I first heard the idea of saving him, I thought it would be a total cure that brings that chance to 0%, because then you can sort of breathe easy and it's obvious. But if it's a 1% chance, what it really means is a lifetime of always having an annihilation event lingering, which raises a lot of issues and makes it a little bit more messy in terms of what is right, or just how Koro-sensei will feel about it, how other people will try to intervene. But simultaneously, it makes assassinating him more messy, because he could have lived till 90. You killed him just because there was a chance he would explode. Inevitability or binariness of it, like he explodes or he just totally doesn't explode, would have made either decision a lot easier. I also really like Kayano's holistic look at the situation where nothing about this was easy. A lot changes about your understanding based on what your starting point is of evaluation, like how zoomed in you are and when. One big way I see this, and I think I sometimes debate this in real life, is people who have sort of misanthropic ideas about how terrible humanity is. I think that is absolutely going to be true if you start out with any particular terrible incident, or you are starting with the baseline of humans' perfection, or that we could be perfect. Yet the more you look, the more evidence you find that humans do terrible things constantly, really despicable things that are hard to even understand. But I think that changes a little bit when you consider all of human history and all of time, all of the counterforces that go against us being good, all the natural incentives to be selfish and to do violent things, the fact that any kind of improvement is possible at all. Despite the odds, people still fight to promote good things and to be good to the best of their ability. I also see a lot of societal debate based around the idea of fairness. The way people are perceiving fairness is itself a weird place to start, depending on what's expected from the idea of fairness. I've also noticed a lot in like economic and financial data, people will talk about a decrease in things, but what they often mean is like increasing at a decreasing rate. So like it's not increasing as much as before, but we're calling it a decrease. It's very important. On an interpersonal level, we'll notice the things people don't do for us without accounting for all the things they are doing for us, because those are treated as a baseline. It's hard to take in the full picture.
今日限りで終わりにしていいのかな。終わりにしていいんだよな。あれ
Koro-sensei, this looks like an empty smile for once.
どれだけ可能性が低いと言っても、こいつが危険生物である限り、
Right.
政府は暗殺計画を取り消さないと。
Right, I don't think this is... It's great, but it's not the full win unless there's an updated plan.
期限までは信念を持って刃を振るう。なぜならこの教室での暗殺は先生との絆であり、僕らを育ててくれたコロ先生の必須科目だから。僕らはそう覚悟したんだ。
I guess seeing it through to the end, finish your course. There's something to that. It's weird. I feel like this is unresolved. It has to be resolved in subsequent episodes. There's more that's going to come out of this. The way the kids are taking this and phrasing this, it feels like a victory. But this is not the end of the story. I mean, people are still going to come after him. He's still dangerous. Koro-sensei did not have the most positive reaction to that. He seems a little bit conflicted about where to go and what to do with this. Continuing with the idea of killing him just for its own sake, I mean, that just works with the whole premise of Assassination Classroom, where it's about taking things seriously and doing your best, but as an extension of a higher calling, not for the thing itself. It's not for their grades, right? It's not for the act of assassination. It's for what it brings out of them, you know, reaching for that highest thing, which is connected to the highest ideal that they can find. So that's fine. But it is a little bit weird just on like a technical level, like still trying to kill him. I guess what actually they would need here is a new way to apply themselves. Okay, now we've gotten this expertise. We're confident enough. We're so capable we can go to space to steal plans and barely break a sweat. Well, what would be the next thing we could do that would be in service given our capabilities? What's the next thing? And just see how far you can get with that. Really great episode. A lot came out of it, but I'm really curious to see what Koro-sensei's takeaway from this is and where we go from here. This was a very interesting development in the overall story.